Many of you are frustrated and sad right now. Why, I have just the cure. An article at Politico. Bet you never heard that one before. Welcome to the Doug to Naples channel. The federal workers are in a terrible mood. They're terrified they're about to lose their job under Trump, and that is the happy good news today. Now remember, Politico is a terrible rag. They're the ones that did the massive cover-up where they knew that the 51 intelligence agents that advocated for Biden and said that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian collusion. Politico knew, and they made the journalist bury his story. They're part of the big lie. That's why part of why we're going to run this lawnmower over their grass. I am terrified. Workers describe the dark mood inside federal agencies. This is kind of funny to me already because can you imagine the mood inside of federal agencies? I mean, how bright was it in the first place, sitting in their cubicle under their fluorescent or whatever those lights are called, the fake lights? Now it's really depressing mood. Now they're really dark. I would love to leave, but I don't know where I'd go, said one staffer. I know where you can go. President Donald Trump's executive orders targeting the federal workforce have injected a fresh wave of anxiety among employees across the bureaucracy. Anybody mourning over a bureaucracy? Federal employees with anxiety? Stoking fears the president is coming for their jobs. Yes, stay frosty, guys, be afraid. Just a few days into Trump's second term, some federal workers are contemplating quitting. Good move. That would save Trump a lot of drama and trouble to have to find you and fire you. Others are preparing to file grievances. I'm sure that'll go very far. I have a grievance, Trump, with their union. Union. The story just keeps getting better. They're union workers losing their jobs or moving communications with each other to secure platforms like Signal. By the way, now you get to experience what all of us conservatives and Christians have experienced for the last 8 years, where we couldn't trust our employers and couldn't even go in public on social media out of fear that people would find out what we were saying. So we went on other platforms, set up other dedicated devices, burner phones to talk to each other because we didn't want the feds, you guys are going offline to hide all your communications. Good move. Learn some empathy for just 30 seconds. Come into my mind and think about the people who you oppressed and go, wow, now I know how they feel. Some, fearing they'll be caught up in the White House's purge of diversity programs, are leaving their names off of memos and documents they worry could be labeled as DEI adjacent. Wow, how far things have gone. You know, it used to be that you'd want your name all over the DEI thing for job security and to prefer you for promotions. Now they're like, don't put my name on anything DEI-ish. It's poison. Guys, they're learning empathy. This excites me and makes me very happy. See, I knew I'd make your day. I'm helping make your day. If you're not smiling, you're not an American. As federal employees search this week for clues within the orders to see how they'll be affected, a staffer with the Environmental Protection Agency said they were cleaning out their inbox and waiting for information about early retirement and buyout programs. Yeah, clean out your inbox. You're literally government waste. Trump version 1.0 was bad, said EPA employee. Yeah, and I'm sure you complained a lot. You know what you should have done? You should have let Trump win in 2020. He wouldn't be doing this. He would not have the authority to do this. You could have gone off easy, but no, you went the MSNBC route. I'm already done with version 2.0. He's only been in office for 5 days and they're done with him. This is going to be a beautiful 4 years. Trump, within hours of returning to power, issued a slew of executive orders seeking to overhaul how the federal government operates, from removing job protections to ending remote work, implementing a hiring freeze. Yeah, 90% of these guys were working at home. Now they're making them go back in the office. The reception inside the federal government has been uneasy. I'm just getting happier by the moment. But especially worrisome to some employees was the White House's decision on Tuesday to eliminate diversity programs, subsequently placing those staffers on administration leave. By the way, and they just now announced that they are not allowing any of the employees who are on administration leave at the IRS. They're not allowed to come back. Trump said that the 88,000 IRS agents that Biden hired, he's going to give them the option. He's either going to fire them.
On day one, I immediately halted the hiring of any new IRS agents. You know, they hired or tried to hire 88,000 new workers to go after you, and we're in the process of developing a plan to either terminate all of them or maybe we'll move them to the border. I think we're going to move them to the border.
These are good days. At the State Department, the shutdown of those programs was something many saw coming, but some were startled by the directive that they report individual cases of people's job descriptions being changed to disguise the DEI element to a special Office of Personal Management email address. They're trying to disguise their DEI, so they're using a lot of word salad to cover it up, hoping they'll be able to keep their job if they just rename it. Totally deceptive liberals and Democrats. This is what they do. Some saw it as an order to snitch on colleagues. That can't hurt. Others, by the way, my friends who work in video games who voted for Trump, their anti-Trump colleagues would snitch on them to make sure they got passed up for any promotions and future jobs. Others who prepared for Trump's return to office had begun working months ago with outside nonprofits to archive websites they feared would be taken down by the Trump administration, including information on ending gender-based violence around the world. Yeah, keep that website, guys. Hold on to it because you're not going to get it through Trump anymore. I would love to leave, but I don't know where I would go. And I am terrified of not being able to pay rent and not having health care, one state officer said. Yeah, I'll only tell you that's exactly how I felt when I stopped getting animation jobs because people found out I was against same-sex marriage. You get to feel what I feel. It's terrible. Empathy. What's it feel like to have your career taken away? I hired a voice actor on one of my shows, and I gave him like 152 episodes worth of work. And his son came out and said he couldn't be nice to me anymore, couldn't be my friend. And so he publicly had to a voice actor had to publicly part ways with me. That's the kind of shame I felt. So now you get to experience that same thing. I'm trying really hard to feel for you right now. Politico spoke to almost 24 federal workers for this article and granted anonymity to many in order to protect them from retribution for speaking out. Oh, so you're doing a part of the cover-up now, Politico trying to break the law again and go against the government order. It's too early to tell if a mass exodus of federal workers will occur. The vagueness of the president's orders has many workers waiting to see how they will be implemented once political staff is in place. But what is clear is that the new administration intends to follow through on its threats to purge and dismantle federal bureaucracy. Again, who defends federal bureaucracy? Quote, most of us are watching cautiously and letting the dust settle, said the employee at the U.S. Agency for International Development. We know that there's a range of possible outcomes, and some people are panicking, but most are taking a wait-and-see approach. Adding to federal workers' distress, the acting head of the Office of Personal Management, which is effectively the federal government's Human Resources Department. Raise your hand if you love human resources, everybody. On Monday, instructed agencies to compile lists by the end of the week of all recent hires and promptly determine whether those employees should be retained at the agency. No, none of them should. Career staffers have been in the job for less than a year. That's a very short career. They're on probationary status, meaning they can be fired without triggering civil service protections that insulate much of the federal workforce. Man, that's nice. We're going to preemptively dig those weeds out before they grow and reproduce. The only reason you would do that is that he's going to fire them all, said Alan Lett, a Washington-based employment lawyer who represents federal workers, quote, if you have these mass firings, you can't accuse them of discriminating or anything. But then the question becomes, who does Trump rehire? How about the ones that do good work and have great merit? Let's start there. Letch said his firm began getting a spike in calls from worried federal employees starting Monday, that's Trump's inauguration day, even after Trump began signing executives' orders. New hires who have yet to start are also seeing their jobs vanish. Employees with start date was February 8th or later had their job offers revoked with limited exceptions under a different OPM memo tied to the Trump administration's federal hiring freeze. At NASA, there's another good one. NASA, who can't do what Elon Musk did with SpaceX anymore. In the weeks leading to Trump's inauguration, union membership exploded as part of an effort to protect themselves as civil. They're like, I'll join the union. Protect my job, please. Collective bargaining. The American Federation of Government Employees, which represents more than 800,000 employees throughout the government, that's too big. We will be tracking how agencies implement the orders, and we'll be prepared to file grievances if our contracts are violated, a spokesperson said. An Environmental Protection Agency staffer said they plan to file a grievance with the union if their remote work arrangement is rescinded. I want to work from home. You will. I have a right to not be in the office. In the meantime, they're preparing to find a job outside of government in the private sector where they expect results. That's probably a really good idea. I think you'll feel much better about yourself. Hopefully, I don't know if you'll make more money. You won't have as good of benefits, that's for sure. Another EPA employee predicted that no major changes would occur until March, when the short-term spending bill runs out. After that, it's a toss-up, they said. This is only good news. If you're not happy right now, you know what they're saying? They're telling you Trump means business. He's doing what he promised he would do, and then some. He's actually reforming the government. He's actually going to shrink the government. That's a conservative principle, to have a limited government. The smaller it gets, the more free the citizen, that you don't have to go to the EPA. Go to all these businesses and ask what they think about firing the Environmental Protection Agency and the people that keep them from building. I think it would be great for the EPA to lose some jobs instead of the construction workers that can't work because their project's been put on hold for 4 years. I'm Doug in exile.